be changing gears a little bit. Rather than telling a story about my coming out and the challenges that I face, I want to talk to you a little bit about what I'm working on along with so many others at Google, with one of our really beloved employee resource groups called Gaglers. So if you work at Google, you're a Googler, and if you're an LGBT person working at Google, you're a Gagler. And the Gaglers group is a very incredibly strong network that we have across the world. It's represented in pretty much all of the main offices that we have around the world. Ironically, not represented in Madrid until very recently, thanks to Jose. So we're starting up a group here in the Madrid office, which is very exciting for us. And so what we've done with Gaglers as an employee resource group, it's a community of people where it's not only based around the social and networking aspects of working at Google, but also around professional development, mentoring, and potential leadership opportunities that you can have, and ways to grow within the company. So I'm particularly proud of Gaglers because I've been at Google for about 7 years, and I've been an active member of Gaglers in all of my 7 years, and I've worked with Google both in New York, Singapore, back in New York, and now in Berlin. I'm based in Berlin. And I find it to be one of the most unique organizations because it allows you not only to live your true self, right, and to bring that true self to work and be very out and open, but it also allows you this pedestal to communicate what our community is, what our community stands for, to the rest of the people who are around us. So, us Googlers, we have the benefit of working at an organization where we have a fairly open-minded community. And it's really amazing to see how Gaglers allows us to interact with other networks within Google, like the Black Googler Network, Women at Google, the Hispanic Googler Network, etc. There's like a Disabilities Network, a Graglers Network for those of our older Googlers. And it's really amazing how these different business resource groups can build together a really inclusive work environment. So just a quick overview of how we're set up. Everywhere around the world, we have a steering committee in a region. So here in Europe, Middle East, and Africa, we have a Googler steering committee. I sit on that steering committee focusing on business initiatives. We have one that focuses on the Americas, in Brazil, Spanish-speaking Latin America, one that's overlooking APAC, and one in Tokyo specifically. And so it's really interesting for us to have these communities around the world because we can then have a lot more influence in terms of the decision-making that happens both at a policy level within Google, also on a product level when we introduce new products, and how their UX and the various options and things like that might affect the LGBT community. And it also allows us to make a cohesive statement around the world when really big cultural moments happen, and I'll talk about that in just a second. The other thing that's really remarkable about Gaglers rather, is it's entirely volunteer-based. So the entire community, both on a regional level as well as a local level, is based on volunteers who give their time. And the reason we do that, the reason we specifically focus on volunteers, is because the people who are passionate about building those communities, when they step up to the plate, when they actively opt in to lead, things happen, right? Like, things start to move and shape when it's something that's kind of more forced upon specific offices that we need to have a Gaglers group, et cetera, it's not as authentic. We don't get as much engagement, and I find that to be one of the most amazing things about Google, and Googlers specifically, that there's people who are stepping up, right, and doing this above and beyond their jobs. So just a little overview of Gaglers and the work that we're doing. I want to share with you now a little bit about what Google does to support the community, the LGBT community, beyond sponsoring events like this, beyond showing up at Pride, whether it be locally or at World Pride on Saturday. I hope you guys are excited to march. I'm very excited. Google also really steps up in terms of both advertising and the products that we create. So the two examples I'm going to share with you now are a little bit vintage. They're definitely newer examples, but they're examples that are very near and dear to my heart, and so I'm really excited to share them with you. The first one that I'm going to show you is an example around marriage equality and how we had one of our products surprisingly play a part in that.
Nous nous sommes rencontrés en 1976. En 40 ans d'économie, nous avons vu notre pays changer, évoluer. Mais il y a un sujet sur lequel la France n'avance pas. C'est la reconnaissance de notre couple, de son histoire et de notre amour. Maintenant, nous n'avons plus 20 ans, hein, et nous n'avons pas 20 ans devant nous. Le mariage de personnes du même sexe est encore au stade de projet de loi. Nous ne voulons plus de personne de ces bouches. Nous voulons juste avoir les mêmes droits que les autres.
L'État n'a pas à participer à la normalisation de l'homosexualité. C'est tout n'importe quoi, même avec des hommes et des animaux.
Ces gens-là doivent être enfermés à perpétuité. Elles sont un couple homosexuel, ça vient à Paris.
Nous voulons vous marier. Et voilà, c'est toujours pas possible. Et un beau jour, on nous appelle et on nous dit la chose suivante. Oui, il est possible de vous marier en France avec un air belge, car là-bas c'est possible.
Les gays français peuvent enfin s'unir.
Sur Google+, c'est le réseau social qui concurrence Facebook en ce moment. Eh bien, ils ont inventé un petit procédé, tout simplement de visioconférence.
C'est un collectif tous unis pour l'égalité qui organise ces cérémonies. Alors ce n'est pas un maire français qui est officier puisqu'ils n'ont pas le droit, c'est un bourgmestre belge, celui de la ville de Marchin. En Disney, silence dans la section.
Jacques Chaudot, dans son développement tout début, qui est le corps ici présent.
Oui.
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 En conséquence, nous déclarons que vous êtes unis par les mêmes mariages.
Au-delà de ce message d'amour, c'est aussi pour nous un message d'espoir, pour que tous les couples puissent vivre leur amour au grand jour.
Il est plus important d'apprécier les gens pour ce qu'ils sont et non avec qui ils couchent.
Dans ces débats, on parle beaucoup de l'égalité, on parle beaucoup de la liberté, assez peu de la fraternité.
Le bonheur, quand on le partage, il s'accroît au lieu de se diminuer.
I really love that example because it just shows you how technology can play a really active part in moving our, this agenda of equality, of love forward. So the next example that I want to share is one that you're probably also very familiar with. It's Dan Savage's It Gets Better campaign.
High school was bad. I was obviously gay. I did get harassed. What I'd love you to take away from it is that however bad it is now, it gets better. And it can get great.
Okay, well, once. Here's the first thing you need to know.
You are perfect and wonderful exactly as you are.
You're not alone. There are a ton of us out here in this world who love you without even knowing you.
There's art to be made. There's songs to be sung.
So hold on.
The debate, it is all that gets better with age. It gets better.
It gets better.
It gets better.
So much better.
You'll be fine, partner.
Life can be amazing, but you have to tough this period out and you have to live.
So, as I said before, with great technology kind of comes great responsibility. And so one of the things that I was talking about with the way we set up Gablers and the way that we communicate with our senior management and work with the different constituents within Google, it allows us to move really quickly and nimbly to make an impact. So many of you may remember this when the Sochi Olympics were happening. Many Googlers internally started this thread around, well, what do we say, right? There's this really interesting anti-LGBT sentiment in Russia. There's laws that prohibit the ability for people to gather and communicate and to really move this agenda forward. And how are we going to respond to that as a company, right? We're a company that really believes in bringing yourself to work and not really having it matter who you love and the person you choose to be. And so we started this thread. So the Olympics started, let's say, on Thursday. The week before, this thread came out, and all of a sudden, we had senior leaders with everyday Googlers around the world talking about, well, what do we do? What are we going to say? So we approached Larry and Sergey over a weekend and said, we had our top LGBT execs approach them and say, well, what are we going to do? What are we going to say? And they gave us 2 days and said, come up with something and come back to us and see what we can do. And in 2 days, the Gayler Network around the world mobilized to figure out what would be a very appropriate response to the start of the Olympics, but something that was very pointed, right? So when you look at this doodle, yeah, it's a rainbow flag or whatever rainbow colors, and there's different sports represented. But it's very, very simply a line from the Olympic Charter about humanity and sportsmanship and the way that we treat others, right? And I found that to be something that was so poignant. So in 1 week, we were not only able to mobilize through the network that we had created, the influence we had created within the company, but we were able to launch this doodle globally in every single country where Google.com is available. And it stayed up for the duration of the Olympics. That to me is an incredible statement as to the kind of work that internal employee resource groups can do, not only for Googlers internally, but in order to make a message for the LGBT community externally. So just wanted to share a little bit of anecdotes, a little bit of an understanding of how we're set up at Google and the resource group and what we do. I really appreciate your time, and thank you so much. I appreciate it.